We have a couple of forecasts for you this morning. The first will be about what to expect from the weather. The other will be about what to expect from tomorrow's elections, including the timeline on when we might know the results. And it is Monday. That means it's time for an update from Machinery Pete.
Live from what may be the last normal day we see for a while via Farm Journal broadcast, this is AgriTalk. This morning we'll begin with a conversation with Machinery Pete, Greg Peterson. Then it's an extended conversation with Pro Farmer Policy OG Jim Wiesmeyer. Directly following the news, Brett Waltz from BAM WX. I'm handsome newsman Davis Michelson, and now the host of AgriTalk, Chip Lowry.
All right, Davis. Hey, buddy. How's things going? How's the weekend, man?
It was okay. It was okay. Now that I know that you are here, that you have assumed your position behind the big green leafy microphone of AgriTalk, it's like a weight is off my shoulders, dude. Wow. So glad to have you back. Did you have fun? Did you have a good time?
I did. Absolutely. Good. Absolutely. Great group of guys.
Wonderful.
Great hunting, great hosts. It was, very, very nice weekend up there. And the food.
I was going to say, as I understand, there's usually a food report attached to this trip.
Oh, my
each year.
Gosh. it just, the job that our cook, Tommy, does is absolutely unbelievable. On Saturday night, for hors d'oeuvres, we had butter poached huge shrimp.
Butter poached shrimp?
Yes. Wow. And then we had the tri-tip cooked over wood. Oh, dude, I'm telling you.
Let me tell you something here, beloved listeners. Sometimes you got to know when to take a break in life, and when you do that, it's okay to treat yourself. You know, get the good stuff.
That's right, to butter poached shrimp and tri-tip.
Poach some shrimp and butter. Why not? I'm going to try that for lunch. We'll see how she goes.
Love it. Oh, my goodness. Hey, and even though we're talking about a couple of weekends that went pretty well for us, thinking about you guys down in the Southern Plains, was an unbelievably rough weekend of weather, and it looks like there's the potential for more. We're going to talk with Brett Waltz from BAM WX about that here in just a moment, and then Greg Peterson and Jim Wiesmeyer for the second half of the show. We're going to dig into what to expect from the elections.
It's going to be cool.
Okay, man. Let's get started.
Well, I'm going to start with the weather. Scattered severe thunderstorms associated with tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds are likely today from the Southern Plains into the Ozarks and the mid-Mississippi Valley. Excessive rainfall is also likely in those same areas. Flooding rain fell during the weekend from West Texas through the heart of Oklahoma to southeastern Kansas. Rainfall was less severe from northwestern Missouri and northeastern Kansas through the southeast half of Iowa into southwestern Wisconsin. Here in the city of Kansas, Chip, we got a nice drink over the weekend, but nothing majorly damaging. I think we missed the worst of it here. Yeah,
good. Yeah, it started raining yesterday and or I should say started raining Saturday in Iowa, and we've picked up a nice shot of moisture. There's no question.
Well, Chip, private exporters reported the following daily sales activities: 150,000 metric tons of corn for delivery to Mexico in the 24-25 marketing year, 120,000 metric tons of corn for delivery to unknown for the 24-25 marketing year, and 132,000 metric tons of soybeans for delivery to unknown destinations during the 24-25 marketing year. The export sales keep rolling along, buddy boy.
Exactly. They certainly do, and there's some talk that this is in front of the elections. Well, we'll find out. The other thing that we need to keep in mind is there isn't any chance of a policy change until January, okay? Mm-hmm. So is this front running going to last for another month, almost 2 months? If it does, it's going to make these export numbers look pretty doggone good.
Yep. Well, Chip, U.S. interest rates are thought to be returning, with the Fed expected to announce a 25 basis point cut on Thursday. Traders are anticipating this move, and there remains one more opportunity for a cut in December. The U.S. elections on Tuesday will take center stage, though it could take days or weeks to decide some of the races. It's a tight race for president and control of the House, while Republicans are expected to win the Senate. Chip, early voting for the 2024 election has surged, with nearly 47% of the 2020 electorate already casting ballots, this according to the Washington Post. Key states like Georgia, Arizona, and North Carolina have seen significant turnout, and early voting has exceeded 2020 levels in some states, despite previous skepticism by former President Trump regarding early and mail-in voting. He and other Republicans are now encouraging it. FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr accused Vice President Kamala Harris's Saturday Night Live appearance on Saturday of being a deliberate move to bypass the equal time rule, which ensures equal broadcast opportunities for opposing candidates. Fortunately, Chip, nobody really watches SNL anyway, so I don't think there's a violation here.
Yeah, no, Trump won this little deal because he got a 90-second commercial during NASCAR and on Sunday Night Football out of the deal.
Yep. Well, a new Des Moines Register Mediacom poll shows Democrat Kamala Harris leads Donald Trump in Iowa. The poll shows that women, particularly those who are older or are politically independent, are driving the late shift toward Harris. Iowa GOP Chairman Jeff Kaufman said the poll should be considered propaganda. Not sure what to believe anymore, Chip.
Yeah, we'll try to sort it out with Wiesmeyer coming up here in just a little bit. All right, thank you, Davis. Let's bring in Brett Waltz, BAMWX.com. Good morning, Brett.
Hey, good morning, Chip.
Good to talk to you. Man, what a rough weekend down in the Southern Plains.
Yeah, it really is. This late season severe weather down there, tornadoes. I know a ton of damage and just really bad images coming out of down there. And unfortunately, a lot of those same areas are going to have severe weather chances each of the next 3 days.
Yeah. But, Brett, this is crazy. It's been 2 days already, and there's 3 more days in the forecast. What's causing that?
Yeah, we've got a really big gradient in temperatures across the central U.S. It's really the exact opposite of a pattern that we had in October. A lot of cold air and mountain snow out in the west, and then record-breaking warmth east, and it's that clashing of air masses that's going to lead to the central U.S. getting severe weather. In fact, I just saw a new tornado warning pop up just south of Oklahoma City again.
Wow. Unbelievable. Okay, pattern. Is the pattern with us for a while here in the middle of the country?
Yeah, I really don't see a big change coming. I think we're going to keep with this cool west, warm east type of deal, which is going to keep the plains in the Midwest very active over the next, I would say, 15 days, to be honest. I don't see a breakdown of it in the near future.
Okay. Real quick, any features that we need to be aware of out of South America?
Yeah, Brazil, I think it continues to be very wet the next 2 weeks in the major production areas. Argentina is going to be more hit or miss. And the thing with Argentina is the back half of November looks to be dry as well. So perhaps that's the area to keep an eye on. Brazil dries out as well late November, but still some decent rains in southern Brazil and into Uruguay and Paraguay.
Okay, very cool. Very cool. You've got a webinar coming up this week, right?
We do. It's next week, so it's going to be November 13th next week. But we'll talk about the South America forecast and what winter's going to look like.
All right. How do they find out more on that, Brett?
They can go to bamwx.com/webinar to sign up for free. You can get the recording or watch it live.
Outstanding. Thank you, buddy. Brett Waltz, welcome back. Brett Waltz, bamwx.com. We got Machine Repeat up next.
Machine Repeat on AgriTalk is brought to you by Firestone Ag. Firestone Ag now offers Bridgestone tractor tires, the ultimate lineup of tires engineered to deliver enhanced wear life, durability, and ride comfort on the road. To learn more, talk to your local certified Firestone Ag dealer.
Welcome back to AgriTalk. I'm your host, Chip Floyd. Glad that you are with us on this Monday morning. Greg Peterson, Machine Repeat, joins us right now. How you doing, Greg?
Hey, I'm doing well, Chip. How's your Monday? Off to a good start?
Yeah, doing just fine. You had a good football weekend up in Minnesota, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. The boys, the Gophers, won their fourth in a row, and Purple guys slipped by last night. So, yeah, it was a good week for the football fans up here for sure.
Yeah. Better weekend than I had.
Well, I was rooting for the Clones there, man. Right at the end, boy, what a great battle, though.
Oh yeah, it was quite a battle, but boy, we made a lot of mistakes that you just can't make. You just can't make
Uh,
those mistakes.
that's
So,
uh that's football, isn't it?
yep.
Always a learning opportunity though, right? For
Yeah,
next week.
football with a bunch of kids on the field. You got to remember that.
All we can do is cheer them on and root for them as best we can and have fun.
Exactly. Exactly right. Exactly. So, all right, let's get to the pick of the week. What do you got?
Oh, pick of the week. It's going to be a bunch of tractors munched together from a sale
Okay.
Saturday chip in Atlanta, Indiana. I think a lot of folks around the North America had their eyes on this one. It was a collector auction, John Deere collector auction for Scott and Zach Lay. Again, Atlanta, Indiana. Sales by Polk Auction out of Indiana. Of course, people all over are familiar with Polk. They do an awesome job, have done many of these type collector sales for years. And these John Deere tractors ship, wow, they were just immaculate. And we did set a couple records. They had a
Okay.
rare John Deere 4620 factory front wheel assist that had been restored. Just beautiful. That brought 75,000 bucks.
Jeez.
That's actually smashed the record that had stood for, let's see, 10 and a half years since June 28th of 14. Another Polk auction, very famous sale I covered in Bedford, Iowa. That was a 4620 factory front wheel on that sale, brought 56. And again, 75 on Saturday. So that gives you the flavor of what happened there. They had
Yeah.
another record on a John Deere 7520 four-wheel drive, 3,566 hours on it when it was restored. Just beautiful. That brought 45K, highest I've ever seen. Almost set a record on a John Deere 4000, a 72 model diesel power shift. One of only 247 made had been restored. That brought 77,000 bucks.
Oof.
The only 4,000 I've ever seen higher was back, let's see, that was 9.5 years ago in a sale in Corcoran, Minnesota. That was a very rare gas power shift 71 model. They only made nine of those. That brought 82.5. Another
Wow.
almost record on the 4320 on the sale Saturday. That had 2,545 hours restored. It brought 59,000. And then for you 30 series lover, they had a 4430. I'm sure a lot of people were watching. That was a quad range. Had 6,700 hours on it when it was restored. Looked just like new. That brought 41,000. That's the fourth highest ever. Uh, Again, so quite a sale Saturday. And I do need to shout out Chip to my great friend Dennis Polk, former
Okay.
owner of Polk Auction. And Dennis's mom just passed away, and her
Ah,
funeral was last Thursday. Shirley Ann Polk passed at age 88 from Leesburg, Indiana. Polk, great family, legendary in the auction and equipment business, and great to see him have another awesome sale.
yeah. 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 Not a lot of weakness in this collector market, is there?
No, actually, when I talk to the Wall Street community, they're pinging me like, "Hey, Machinery Pete, what's the vibe now with the used
Yeah.
market and also looking ahead?" And one of the things that I keep bringing up, it's a hard data point to measure, but I call it, for lack of a better term, old money.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so basically, super smart farmers been at it for decades and had some good years,
Yep.
and they're great business people, and their powder's dry, so it can show up when the right piece of land pops up
Yep.
around the Midwest, around the country. We still seeing it's come down a bit, but still strong. And
Hmm.
collector sales like this, which 75K on a 4620 to smash the record by 19,000 bucks.
Right.
Yeah, there's still money
Yeah.
out there. But again, on these items, it's very much like that piece of land right next to you. It's like, here's your chance. When are you ever going to find another 7520 like that, another 4320? And they bring what they bring.
Right. Right. Okay. You talked about this last week, but you need to bring it up again. There's a very special auction that is happening this weekend, right?
Yeah, Saturday, Lewisburg, North Carolina. Thanks for bringing it up, Chip. I did a little segment on Ag Day TV this morning. If you guys caught that out there in listener land, my friend Jason Acock with Acock Auctioneering, he's having a kind of his annual consignment sale, which is on the northeast part of the state in Lewisburg. But Jason called me like 2, 3 weeks ago, and he said, "Pete, he was telling me, he said, God moved me to call you, and we just need to talk about what we can do to try and help our farmer rancher brothers in Western
Hmm.
North Carolina who are just,
Hmm.
they're just devastated." So on the report today on Ag Day, our great, folks at Farm Journal with our partners at Farm Bureau down there in North Carolina, got us some video of, it's just devastation, and the needs are great. So Jason is putting his own tractor on the auction Saturday. It's a really sharp Alice 8070 front wheel assist, 9,332 hours, like new rear tires, and Jason's donating 100% of the proceeds directly. There's no money coming off of this in any way, shape. It's just all going to help farmers and ranchers in need. And the sale is on proxy bid Saturday, the 9th. And in addition to the winning sale price,
Yep.
whoever gets the amazing tractor, donating the money to the cause, they've also set up on proxy bid like 20 lots where you can just like contribute, whether
Right.
it's $10, $50, whatever your heart, and we know, Chip, that, your listeners, when their neighbors are in need, they step up.
That's right.
So, yeah, that's happening Saturday. And again, you can go to AycockAuctioneering.com, AYCOCK auctioneering.com. Jason is a great young auctioneer, big fan of his, and we hope the sale goes well Saturday.
Yeah, boy, I'm going to join in here and encourage everyone to head over there to that website. Say it again.
AycockAuctioneering.com, and it's also on proxy bid. It's Saturday, November 9th. I think you can hop on AgWeb and watch today's episode of Ag Day and the Machine Repeat Monday segments in there. You can see the tractor, you can see the devastation in North Carolina.
Yep.
And they just need our help.
Yeah. I encourage everyone to get out there and do what you can. Like Greg said, whatever moves you, do what you can to help out the people there in Western North Carolina. Okay. There's another auction that you were watching on Saturday as well. Let's hear about that.
Yes. Yep. Back closer to home in Illinois, Donaldson, Illinois. My friends at Langham Auctioneers have a online auction, and just a couple items to highlight, folks. Really sharp. John Deere 7600 two-wheel drive with 4,576 hours on it. That I think could be a very strong seller. And you also have a John Deere 7800 mechanical front with 4,399 hours. So a couple sharp John Deere tractors selling Saturday. And then a telehandler, or I guess a Versa handler in Bobcat terminology, a Bobcat V518, 2,900 plus hours on it. So again, that's selling Saturday. The website here to go to, folks, is Langham, Langham, LanghamAuctioneers.com. And again, if you want a couple good, late 90s to 2000 John Deere tractors there with low hours, there's a pair of them for you. Okay.
All right. Very good. It's just a busy time. Here it is. We're the home stretch, the last 2 months of the year, Greg. This is go time, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. This year, I think for a couple of reasons, is shaping. I don't know. It's going to be super interesting to see how this November, December plays out, Chip. I think folks have maybe heard me talk for years. Our auction price data I've been compiling 35 years clearly shows, clear as a bell, that November, December auction prices, I think 22 of the last 23 years have gone up. The only year they didn't was 2015. Now, one thing that I'm starting to sense right now at the top end of November, dealers have been so aggressive all year. I mean, it's the most aggressive I've ever seen in terms of smashing 1, 2, 3-year-old combines, tractors, planters, sprayers out to auction, that there's a little bit of a breath right now because the losses they've been taking they just are what they are. They're very significant. Of course, their options is no good when you're paying 8% interest on the stuff that's not moving. So I think they're taking a little breath, maybe seeing how things go early in November here. And then I think, if I'm not a betting man, but I think that we'll see some more action here late November into December. But that's just the reality of the current market right now. It's tough on the dealer side.
Yeah. They've been very aggressive in managing their inventory. There's no question about that. So, All right, buddy. Hey, good work. Thank you so much. And we will talk to you again next week. Be safe.
Sounds great. Have a great week, Chip.
All right. That is Greg Peterson, Machinery Pete. Okay, the countdown is almost done. We've got the elections coming tomorrow. We'll do one last preview and some things to think about. Jim Wastemeyer, Pro Farmer, next.
Time for Markets Now with the experts from Pro Farmer.
Joining us now, Pro Farmer editor Brian Grady. Beej, let's start in the soy complex. Soybean meal caught a bid. What's going on?
Yeah, that's corrective in nature, Chip. The meal market struggled here recently, and so leading to the upside. That's lending support to soybeans. But beans have backed well off of their session highs, and that's largely tied to soy oil, which showed great strength late last week, but is correcting lower in 90 to about 120 points lower. So a pretty significant correction there. Notably, the crude oil market is sharply higher this morning. So soy oil is correcting to the downside despite that strength in crude oil.
Yeah, just when you think that there is that tight connection between soybean oil and crude oil, you get a day like today where they go in opposite directions. You mentioned the spillover support for corn there. What's happening in wheat?
Well, the wheat market's kind of been on both sides of unchanged and currently is trading to the upside just mildly. But like I said, we've tested the downside, now trying to work to the upside again. The dollar sharply lower, so that's helping the wheat trade today.
Gotcha. Take us over to livestock trade.
Yeah, mostly weaker tone. Live cattle futures, obviously they pulled back from the multi-month high late last week, and we're facing price pressure here to kick off the week. So the cattle market looks kind of toppy, not only from a futures perspective, but also the cash market and the box beef trade as well. And so we'll have to kind of watch that one as we move forward. Hog futures, they've traded both sides this morning, but currently favoring the downside in the front end of that market and just some corrective pullback with overbought conditions.
All right, Brian, thank you so much. Pro Farmer editor Brian Grady. Give Brian's work a look there at tryprofarmer.com.
Opinions expressed on AgriTalk do not necessarily reflect the views of Farm Journal Broadcasting, affiliate stations, or sponsors. When news breaks, the news makers talk about it on AgriTalk with Chip Flory.
Welcome back. Glad that you're with us on a Monday morning. Okay, it's the day before the elections, and we need to make sure that we've got an understanding of what is expected to happen, at least as we head into the elections, and try to answer a few last-minute questions that people might have. Who would we turn to for that?
You know, there's really only one name that comes to my mind.
Agriculture news and more insights that you can't ignore. He's got the scoop from every angle. Let's dive in, don't get tangled.
There it is. Jim Wiesmeyer, new walk-up sound.
He brings his own music.
He brings his own music. I love this. Oh, Jim, welcome back, buddy. How are you, man?
I had a fan send me that. He obviously used AI on that, but I kind of liked it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Got a good
we
beat.
kind of like it too.
You can dance to it.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Here we are, man. One day to go.
We are. And early tomorrow morning, I'm actually on election day flying out to Tucson, Arizona to speak the following day to the U.S. Meat Export Federation. And they have me doing an update on Friday. That they know how close it's going to be, Chip.
Yeah. So are you one of the early voters in America? Is that what I would?
Oh, I had to vote. Yeah, I had to vote early. And the place where I voted at had around 1,500 votes a day, they said.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anything that it sounds like there's been a pretty good turnout in the early voters so far, right?
Yeah, and here's the significance there. The researchers I've talked to, Chip, normally Republicans vote on election day.
Yep.
And they're really voting early this election. Now, if you wait until election day, and if more Republicans than Democrats vote on election day, that could mean the difference of 1 to 2 points for Trump. So that's going to be curious to see. That's a plus side on Trump. Now, there's other offsetting things, but we're going to see. I think that's a significant one. And the other one, Chip, is voter registrations. Overall, Republicans have seen growth in voter registrations in a number of battleground states.
Yeah. The battleground states, they are really battlegrounds, Jim. They are about as toss-up as I can remember. Well, you go back to 16 and they just had it wrong.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It improved in 2020, but it still wasn't great on the polling. But it's almost like the pollers have decided we're just going to call these things toss-up.
Razor thin toss-ups, yeah. And interestingly, both political parties are rather confident, Chip. So it's just wild cards all over the place.
Yeah. Is there anything that we can take from the schedule that the candidates have got here for the last day in front of the campaign or in front of the election? Is that telling us anything?
Well, I think so. Yeah, she's going to spend her time in the final day in Allentown, Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, and Philadelphia. That's smack swat, Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah.
And Trump's going to 3 battleground states: North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. Now, some people tell me he has a better chance in Michigan and Wisconsin than he has in Pennsylvania. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, it still feels like Pennsylvania is the pivotal vote, is it not?
Well, if you win Pennsylvania, you up your odds
win
significantly that you win. Absolutely. All these maps that you see on television, if you score Pennsylvania, you've scored the White House.
Yep. Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about what to expect the rest of the week, Jim. Because, I mean, if we find out tomorrow night who won the presidential election, then it's going to be 300 electoral college votes plus to whoever is the winner, right?
And you can't even rule that out, because some of these historically these battleground states tilt to the eventual winner. Now, I don't think either candidate's going to win all of them, but you could well see a mini landslide. You can't rule it out, either candidate. But my gut, which doesn't vote, my gut tells me if you're going to vote the issues, it's the economy, and it's going to be inflation, and it's going to be food prices and other, and other prices. I've talked to too many families.
Yep.
While inflation has come down, food prices are still 20% higher than when Biden and Harris took office. And that, if it goes on the issue, that will be the key issue that decided this race.
Right. And, for you and me and Davis and Big Apple Joe and a lot of the listeners out there, we understand that there are other issues that influence the price of food. But for the average voter, they just look at the grocery bill and say, oh, my gosh.
Yes.
The idea of H5N1 doesn't even come into their mind. The idea of drought in cattle country doesn't even come into their mind. They just know that eggs are $4 a dozen. They just know that their grocery bill on average is 20% more than what it was 4 years ago.
Yeah. And then there's the other side. If you vote character, that's where Trump falls down, And my good friend David Wasserman of the Cook Political Report sent me a note over the weekend, because I've heard him in recent speeches and even on Pro Farmer this week. He said a week ago, I considered Trump a 60-40 favorite, but Trump, he said, quote, had a terrible past week between floating garbage, taking care of women, whether they like it or not, water fluoridation. I might still give him a tiny edge, David said, but the outlook has tightened considerably the more off message Trump's been.
Okay. If the results drag out, what does that mean for us?
Well, that I don't think you can signal if they drag out. Well, North Carolina and Georgia, if Trump's going to have a good night, we'll know it pretty quickly in North Carolina and Georgia, the early trends, Chip, and then you'll go from there. Yes.
Okay.
And you watch those select counties where Trump is said to be gaining in young Black American votes and the Hispanic votes. And both of those states have counties that we can initially test. And that's what we'll be doing election night, how they compare to 2020 and 2016 to see if Trump is indeed increasing his margins of those voters. And both candidates are going to try to either expand, in the case of Kamala Harris, those city districts that a Democrat usually wins, such as in Philadelphia, as opposed to Trump. He's going to try to narrow the spread between those city districts. We can start doing that election night.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. What's going on in Iowa?
Somebody's going to be very right or very wrong. Now, the Iowa poll, I forget her name right now, Seltzer.
Yeah,
her track record is about as very good,
right.
So historically, but she's out there as an outlier now because she's saying Harris is going to win by 3 points. Now, interestingly, so I think the same survey showed RFK Jr. had 3 points, so that could be a big difference. But the Emerson poll, taken around the same time, has Trump up 9 to 10 points. So. Yeah. Wow. So this could be, if she is wrong, that's going to be the end of her career. Right. But it's called the Cadillac standard of polls in Iowa. So we're going to see. But I'll tell you, Democrats are very happy about it. But boy, no prognosticator has Iowa in Harris's camp.
Right.
That's how significant that poll was.
Right. Exactly. Why are we not hearing much about Ohio?
Because it has turned. It is no longer a battleground state, except Sherrod Brown is a Democrat. Historically, is a good campaigner, and he's another good one. But if Trump wins that state by more and more points versus 2016 and 2020 higher, I don't see Sherrod Brown winning. So we're going to have to see the margin of Trump's well-expected victory in Ohio to see whether or not Moreno, who's the Republican candidate, who really waited until the end, Chip, for his ads to kick in, and it's very close. You can't call it right now in Ohio on the Senate race. That's how interesting or respected Sherrod Brown is in the state of Ohio. It shouldn't even be a contest.
Right. And the other Senate contest that we're really watching out there is up in Montana.
And again, John Tester historically has come through on each election, and but he's never run against Trump on the ticket, Chip. And again, Montana is Trump country. And the Republicans with Tim Sheehy is a very good candidate. So I think that's a pickup. Most people say that's a pickup. And combined with West Virginia, that is an easy pickup for the Republicans over Joe Manchin because he's not running. That'll be justice on the Republican side. There's your Senate control right there if they pick up the two.
All right, there's one more Senate race that I want to talk about. That's in Wisconsin between Baldwin and Hovde up there. And then what's it all mean? What does the division of power look like, and who's really going to be the focus after the elections?
I don't know what you're thinking. So call us at 855-4TALK-AG and tell us what's on your mind.
All right, election preview here on AgriTalk. We've got Pro Farmer Policy Analyst Jim Wiesmeyer with us. Jim, go up to Wisconsin. Baldwin and Hovde in that Senate race up there. Baldwin's the incumbent, a Democrat. But it's quite a bit closer than what I thought it was going to be, say, a month ago.
And this is that Wisconsin thing that I told you about. And on the last election, You can still register to vote in Wisconsin on election day, Chip.
Yeah.
And I'd have to go back to my notes here. I don't know. Some 68,000 people registered to vote in Wisconsin on election day in 2020. So we'll have to see if that's the case again. But yeah, it's squeezy tight, and the Democrats are very concerned that could be another pickup. And let's see the significance of the Senate, Chip. No matter who is president, the Senate has to confirm a president's nominees for their cabinet. They're going to have to deal with the expiring 2017 tax cuts, also called Trump tax cuts, and they're going to have to potentially debate and approve at least one, if not several, Supreme Court justices over the next 2 years.
Yep.
That is big. That is
Dude,
big.
When we think about what's really at stake here, there's some tax issues that are very much in up for grabs here. But it's the Supreme Court, it's the number of states, it's the filibuster in the Senate. These are things that are really what the important things as we look forward, aren't they?
Yes, but there is virtually no odds, and you usually don't say that on elections, that the Democrats will have a sweep because of what we just said on the Senate with the pickups in West Virginia and very likely Montana. So they won't be able to do the filibuster, the anti-filibuster, if the White House is Kamala Harris.
Right. Okay.
That's a significance there. Now, the Republicans, you still can't rule out a sweep.
Right. Okay. Is Senator Cruz, is he really in a battle in Texas?
The Texans that I met with last week at a crop insurance agents meeting say no, that he'll still win by about 6 percentage points, Chip. And I trust the Texans that I talked with.
Okay. All right. So let's recap this, because if it's a divisive victory for either Harris or Trump, we're going to know that fairly early, aren't we? I mean, we could even know it tomorrow night, right?
Well, it just depends on those early states. That's why I say Georgia, North Carolina is very key for any initial barometers, Chip. I really do. That if that goes easier than expected for Trump, and he should win both basis the election people that I trust.
Right.
But the degree that he wins, if it's more than expected, yes, we could call it probably that he'll pick up some other states that may not be in his camp by most prognosticators. So that would be an early indication. We're going to see if some of these decision desks call it early.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so if the Senate does go to the Republican control, boy, there's a group of just 4 or 5 moderates.
Yes.
Are going. The way that they vote on issues going forward is going to determine so much.
Murkowski from Alaska, Susan Collins from Maine. You've got Curtis from Utah. And then you've got Cassidy from Louisiana, Chip, all moderates that could give any White House-led Trump fits, because they're going to have to deal with them, because they won't get any Democratic votes. So they're going to have to deal with them. And we saw that with the Democrats, with Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema from Arizona.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So it's not a shoo-in. They're going to get what they want. Now, taxes, yes, I think Murkowski and the others will go along on some of these tax cuts. But on other issues, they're going to have to moderate some of their views, being the conservative Republicans. And on the House side, it's if the Republicans do retain the House, I say in my speeches, it's not like herding cats; it's herding feral cats with these rebels and in the House, and I don't see that changing, regretfully, either.
Right. Okay. So let's say that this goes really weird on Tuesday. I mean, really weird. Maybe the weirdest that we've ever seen. There's 538 total electoral votes. Is there a way that it could get to 269?
There is. There is a chance, however low.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's the case, then the incoming House votes for the presidency, but they get one state delegation gets one vote. So that would tend to suggest that the Republicans will have more state House wins. Okay.
Right.
So you would up the odds that a Republican would be president.
So it's not that the four representatives from Iowa would each get a vote. Iowa gets one vote.
One vote. Yes, that's interesting.
You want to talk about party lines.
Yeah, you can't rule out a 270 to 269, and if that's the case, the odds would tilt toward Harris, I think, because she would get that Omaha district in Nebraska,
right?
That has those electoral votes by the split.
Unbelievable, Jim. Travel safe.
Yes,
and I'm sure that you'll be up
all night.
All night watching the results of this thing. So I'm expecting my text to blow up tomorrow night. Okay, buddy?
It will. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Jim Wiesmeyer, Pro Farmer Policy Analyst, and with some really, really interesting perspective on what to expect and what to watch for tomorrow. Come back this afternoon, 2:06 Central. Jeff Hogendorn from Professional Ag Marketing here on AgriTalk.